This is macOS Ken.
Rumblings of realities augmented and virtual. It is Monday, the 30th of May, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is kind of a laid-back edition of macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macOSCan. This show is also sponsored by Upstart, fair and fast personal loans. Without getting too much into my stuff, I've learned a lot about personal finance over the past few months. Well, I've unlearned a lot of stuff, actually, and I'm starting to learn it the right way. I say all of that to say, if you've got high-interest debt or personal expenses holding you down, if you think there is no way to get past it, maybe learn about Upstart. Upstart knows you're more than just your credit score. So rather than looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income, employment, and other information provided in your loan application to find you a smarter rate for your loan. You can check your rate in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000 without impacting your credit score, and you can receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. Don't wait and check your rate today at upstart.com/macOSCan. UPSTART, that's upstart.com/macOSCan to check your rate today. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/macOSCan. We've really got one story today and then some musings on that story. There seems to be movement on the realityOS front. 9to5Mac says Parker Ortolini has spotted trademark registrations for the term realityOS, thought for years to be the operating system that will power whatever Apple does in any virtual reality and augmented reality devices. Now, I know what you're thinking. Who is Parker Ortolini? No offense intended. He would probably say, who is Ken Ray if you asked him. Ortolini lists himself on Substack as product manager for The Verge, Polygon, and Vox Media podcasts. Perhaps more important for this story, though, Ortolini says he nailed the name macOS Monterey thanks to a bit of trademark sleuthing. Over the weekend, he wrote, "Last year, I discovered that Apple had renewed 2 of their macOS name trademarks, Monterey and Mammoth. I nailed the macOS Monterey name months ahead of WWDC in February." He thinks macOS 13 will be Mammoth, by the way. We'll probably find out in about a week. On the realityOS front, Ortolini writes, there are 2 trademarks for realityOS that are currently active and owned by a company called realityOS Systems LLC. I can't find any details about this LLC, much like the other shell corporations that Apple has formed in the past to trademark other operating system names. These 2 realityOS trademarks are also the only ones owned by the LLC. Both were filed on December 8, 2021, he continues, in a wide variety of categories, all related to the design and development of computer hardware, software, peripherals, and computer and video games. The marks also specifically mention wearable computer hardware. But wait, there's more. Somebody has filed in opposition to another company's use of the term realityOS. I should have said the first realityOS was altogether, no spaces. The second is reality space OS, and somebody's against that. If you're wondering how anyone could stop somebody else from using that, my guess is it's a combination of arcane trademark law and a bit of, if you know, then you know. While we heard about references to realityOS in Apple code earlier this year, references to ROS go back as far as 2017. But there is still more. Ortolini says the realityOS marks have a deadline for international filing on the 8th of June 2022, which is just 2 days after the WWDC keynote, set for next Monday, the 6th of June. Apple has historically transferred trademarks for announced products from their shell corporations a few days following the keynote. Interesting timing, but can anybody actually tie this previously unknown LLC to anything having to do with Apple? Back to our friends at 9 to 5 Mac, who say one of Apple's shell companies is Yosemite Research LLC, which Apple uses to register macOS names like Yosemite and Big Sur. Both Yosemite Research LLC and realityOS Systems LLC are registered at the same address, which points to Corporate Trust Center, a real company that provides trademark services, of which Apple is a client. That is, of course, not proof. Apple may not be, or probably isn't, Corporation Trust Center's only client. Still, hints do start to add up. Now add this. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Bloomberg's Mark Gurman said that Apple had demonstrated its mixed reality headset to the board of directors. That was seen as a sign that development of the device has reached an advanced stage, according to people with knowledge of the matter. In that same article, Gurman wrote, in recent weeks, Apple has also ramped up development of ROS, short for Reality Operating System, the software that will run the headset, according to other people familiar with the work. That progress, coupled with the board presentation, suggests that the product's debut could potentially come within the next several months. So that is all the news you get from me today. It's a holiday. Cut me some slack. I would rather spend the rest of the day having fun, noodling, kicking around ideas. Stay with me. I'm going to spend a few minutes considering the whole AR/VR thing and what to watch for around it. But first, a word from Trade Coffee. I tend to drink 3 cups of coffee a day. A dark roast in the morning, a medium roast in the middle of the day, and a light roast at night. And I have had a bear of a time finding a light roast I actively like. Or did, until Trade Coffee. When you start with Trade, they ask you coffee questions. Ground or whole bean, French press or drip. Do you like cream in your coffee? They take that info and find the right coffee from you from small roasters around the country. And when I first tried Trade, I went for dark roasts, and each of those was fantastic. Bark at the Moon from Drink Coffee Do Stuff is still one of my favorites. Here's what's great, though. When I switched to light roasts, they already have my coffee profile. And the light roasts that they have sent have been great. Here's what I'm saying. If you don't just drink coffee, but actually actively enjoy it, you should give Trade a try. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order, plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/macOScan. That is more than 40 cups of coffee for free. Get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/macOScan and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/macOScan for $30 off. And don't forget about Father's Day coming up. A Trade subscription is the perfect gift for the coffee lovers in your life. Get started now at drinktrade.com/macOScan. So why am I so excited about VR and AR? Well, they get to levels of belief in me that I can't fully explain. In 2006, I think it was either Bill Gates or Steve Ballmer who talked about the death of iPod. And no, they were not talking about the Zone. They were talking about a converged device, something that would do more than one thing, not just a media player to play media. To me, this made sense. I didn't know what it would be. I didn't know what it would look like, but the idea just made sense to me. And I believed. macOS Ken Live ran its first round from mid-2010 through mid-2012. Somewhere in there, we got into a discussion of wearable technology. And I was a believer. And I won't even pretend that I saw the Apple Watch coming or saw AirPods coming. At the time, I think I said you could argue that we already had wearable technology in the form of iPhone, this thing without which many of us would ever go anywhere. I had no clue what the future of wearable technology was, but I did believe in it. So let me please tell you about a few aha moments around virtual reality, which I do think will fold into the whole augmented reality thing. I had use of an Oculus Rift for a while. Boy, was it heavy and uncomfortable. I also had use of a high-powered Asus gaming laptop to run the virtual reality thing that was the Oculus Rift, and boy, did I not enjoy that laptop. Fans came on pretty much the second you turned it on. Also, Windows 10 makes a crap ton of noise, popping up pop-ups on the screen that I couldn't see because I was wearing a VR rig. I know I'm making it sound terrible. It was actually really amazing. My first aha moment came around the sort of VR museum. There was a virtual map on the virtual table in this virtual museum I was virtually visiting. I had trouble making out some of the information on the map, so I leaned down to get a better look. And the information came into focus. Not I selected it and it enlarged. I bent at the waist to get closer to the information just like I would over a real table, and the info got easier to read. And that was an aha moment. Done well enough, you can forget that you're wearing a thing. You can forget that the thing in front of you isn't actually a thing in front of you and just start being in that reality. The next aha moment had to do with an excursion. You could transport from that museum to an Egyptian tomb that is several thousand years old. It's a real tomb. It's been photographed meticulously, and I have been inside it. I mean, I haven't, not really. But I've been closer to the wall of that tomb than I'd be allowed to be if I had actually gone to Egypt to see it. I've turned and examined objects in VR that I would never be allowed to handle in the real world. Do I think AR and VR are replacements for actual experience? I do not. But they do give people versions of experiences that they would never have otherwise, even if time and money and location were no object. Also, virtual reality and augmented reality are not governed by reality. I have walked the length of the Apollo 9 mission. Another VR museum I visited was dedicated to Apollo 9. In a great hall were several artifacts, including a 1-to-1 scale version of the rocket that hurled men at our closest celestial neighbor. That's cool, but here's what was cooler. There was a scale model of the Earth and the Moon and Apollo 9's journey between the two. The journey was represented by a line, kind of like the line that illustrated plane flights in the Indiana Jones movies. But what was really neat was if you lean near the Apollo 9 trajectory, you could listen to the radio communications between the astronauts and ground control. That is a whole new way to imagine teaching and learning. And that, to me, is amazing. The possibility for learning is amazing. The possibility for training is amazing. The possibility for seeing things that we would otherwise never get to see is amazing. And the possibilities for entertainment are practically unfathomable. I have no idea what they all are, but I believe. Also, if the AR thing hits, it's time to start thinking about who's going to replace Tim Cook. Have you ever heard Tim Cook talk about augmented reality? Lately, he talks more about COVID-19 and the supply chain, but he used to get a lot of questions about AR, and he spoke with the conviction of a zealot. As far back as 2016, Cook said, "I do think that a significant portion of the population of developed countries, and eventually all countries, will have AR experiences every day, almost like eating 3 meals a day. It will become that much a part of you." And as recently as last year, he said, "I am so excited about AR. I think AR is one of these very profound technologies that we will look back on one day and go, how did we live our lives without it?" If you're looking for more, The Verge has a long and, I assume, running roundup of Cook quotes on VR and AR. Definitely worth a look. So what does that have to do with replacing Tim Cook? Well, in 2021, 10 years into his time as Apple CEO, Apple Insider says Cook was asked whether he would be around another 10. 10 more years? Probably not, said Cook. But I can tell you that I feel great right now and the date is not set. But 10 more years is a long time, and probably not 10 more years. According to a piece around that time, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman wrote, "The belief inside Apple is that Cook just wants to stick around for one more major new product category, which is likely to be augmented reality glasses." And there's a trademark for the OS that's expected to run those, and that team is said to have kicked it into high gear recently. And Apple's board is said to have seen an actual headset, and WWDC is a week away, and I want to believe. Education, applications, physical hardware. What comes next for Apple after AR, both in terms of tech and for the company itself? AR and VR stand to be the next big thing for Apple, with lots of other things to follow. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Trade Coffee. Get $30 off your first order plus free shipping at drinktrade.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.